Right, is former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And right next to him is former Member of Parliament for Funyula, Dr. Paul Otuoma. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I must say, long time no see. I hope you are well. Maybe you can begin by telling Kenyans what you've been up to, and I can start with you, Governor.
We're well. Don't I look well?
Yeah.
We are well. Just been busy. Life is not just about politics. Generally, I always say I'm a businessman. Politics is just the other life. But also, we cannot just sit back and watch our country going into the dogs, so to speak. So really, we are here to discuss about Kenya, what it is that is going on, what it is that we think should be done. But you know, one time I sat with President Kagame, and I asked him, what makes Kagame? Because Kagame is an example in Africa of a nation that has done a president that has done very well. Not that our president is not doing well, but over the years, Kagame has been an icon in African leadership. And he said to me, the difference between me and many other people like you is I'm not a politician, I'm a leader.
That's what he said to you?
That's what he said to me. This is way back in 2015. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. So I asked him, Your Excellency, can you elaborate? He says, you know, politicians like you people in Kenya just think about the next general election.
2022.
General election. That was 2015. And I asked him, how about you? He said, I'm a leader. Leaders think about next generation. So from that day, I had something to learn. That it's not about the next general election. It's about the next generation and generations to come.
I'm hoping that you'll explain to us how that correlates with some of the pictures we've been seeing on social media. And I'll ask the team, they hadn't warned them about this, to look for the pictures. We saw you shaking hands with Honorable Raila, Honorable Mudavadi. We'll play those pictures a bit later on. But Dr. Otuoma, kindly go ahead and give us your opening thoughts.
Thank you, Maura. I know it has been a long time. But I just want to tell Kenyans that politics or representation is just a phase in life. And, you know, if you don't happen to be elected, you continue to serve Kenyans in other capacities. And you also catch up with a lot of things that you are not doing. And that's what currently I've been doing, doing a bit of reading, trying to do a bit of farming, you know, reviving my fishing hobby, you know, the fish farming. Trying to make sure that, you know, I'm catching up with things that I was not able to catch up with.
Do you miss the political scene? Or are there times you enjoy the solitude of not having to pick calls every hour and so forth?
I think, as I said, it's just a phase. And once you're in that phase, you just try to, I mean, you immerse yourself in it. And you cannot say that you are missing this one. Because at that particular time, that's what you are dealing with. And you make the best out of it. You make sure that maybe, as my colleague has said here, if you are running some businesses which you had, delegated out, now you have enough time to look at them. If you are doing certain hobbies, maybe there's enough time now to do those kind of things. And definitely, as a leader also in this country, you will be concerned with what is going on. So you also catch up on it, although now in a different capacity. And because there are those now who have been given that opportunity to serve in their official capacities, but that does not mean that we are not citizens. We are also still citizens, just like you and me, concerned with what is going on, because definitely it affects our lives, our daily lives.
And I'll give you both a chance to talk about the state of the nation. A lot of corruption probes at this time, and I want to get your thoughts on that. But let me take you back. Both of you actually have something in common. Some would say. You both, for some reason, lost in your party nominations, and you both say you were rigged out. And then you both decided to go and vie as independent candidates. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Why did, and let me start by saying, why did you say you were rigged out? And you were both very vocal about it. And I'll start with you, Honorable Kabogo.
You know, I'm not sure why you people in the fourth estate want to continue taking us back to nominations. We lived through it. Tough times, but we moved on. You know, if I sit here and start talking about how I was rigged out, I will look like a jilted lover. I have moved on. Nominations were crazy, so to speak. But life continues.
Okay.
Serious nominations, serious elections are difficult to achieve in Kenya. Because if you go way back to 2002, when I started my political career, I started in the KANU party. We went to nominations. That time it was Mololongo. I had the longest queue in Thika Stadium, I remember. Longer than 2 laps of the stadium. My opponent, who is the speaker now of the Kiambu Assembly, Ashima Ndichu, had a very short queue. Hardly 30 people in that stadium. But come evening, he was given the certificate. I moved to Sisi Kwasisi, a very small party, and I won the elections, landslide. We came again 2007, nominations, the same deal, George Thuo, the late. He got the nominations. He went through the elections. I went to court, petitioned. It was nullified. And we went back to the people. The entire government was on that side, fighting for their government chief whip to retain their seat. You name them, they were all there. Even the current president was there.
Bring you back to the statement, elections are difficult, free and fair elections are difficult
Very difficult to achieve in Kenya.
Then, gentlemen, I need to ask for your...
And it is not because Kenyans don't know how to elect. It is because there are people in power who want specific people not to be voted in.
Do you agree?
And this is the problem.
Do you agree? Do you have the same view?
I concur with a lot of what he has said, but maybe just to add on a bit. A lot of these issues he's talking about, we try to tackle them through either legislations when we came up with the Political Parties Act, and within that Political Parties Act, there were certain standard minimums that we expected political parties to behave and adhere to. But then you will find that, you know, where morals are very insufficient, the laws cannot correct anything. And that is the problem that we are talking about. Because you have got the laws, you know what needs to be done. But our morals are so inefficient that even implementing the law becomes a problem. If you look at the Registrar of Political Parties, she had not been empowered. Equally, political parties, which are even being funded by the public, don't want to conform to public audit, to say that in the Constitution we have already provided that Kenya shall be a multi-party democracy, which means we are recognizing political parties as instruments for us to express our democratic rights. But the same political parties, or the so-called owners of political parties, have individualized political parties. And in the process, they don't allow political parties to develop capacity to carry out those tasks that they are expected to promote democracy. And that is why now you end up with the problems that we end up with. Because you find all the resources that you have been accumulating in the last 5 years, you want to behave that maybe 4 months to elections, it's like now this thing has come from the moon. And that's where you are running around, you are printing booklets, you are using exercise books. I don't know, some papers are in Homa Bay, they are meant to be in Siaya. All these, because there's no capacity. You have not been building that capacity. Now, in the process, when even the main elections becomes a problem, we start blaming even the state. Well, we ourselves, internally, we have developed systems that don't promote democracy at all. And that is where now you start finding the whole nation fails. Because you find individuals who knows that maybe I've come here through either the party is popular in my area, and if I use crooks or means to get the party ticket, then I cling and I go through. Now, imagine such an individual. At the end of the day, you are elected as a leader in this country. How do you expect that individual to behave? He knows that life is about shortcuts.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's where now when you come to some of these issues, we are talking about corruption and all that. It's a chain reaction in this country.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, I need to ask for your permission. I know you've said that you'd not want to go back, but Kenyans still have a lot of questions about what happened to both of you. I'm going to play 2 clips in the area of fairness to remind Kenyans what last year was like, and then I promise you we'll switch gears and talk about where we are as a nation right now. Let's play the first one regarding Honorable Kabogo.
Feel for yourself. Someone does not want Kabogo as governor of Kiambu in the next 5 years. And I'm saying I'm done with it for now.
When you say about someone, who is this someone you're talking
Let's
about?
not, you can read between the lines.
Na kama vile nilivyosema tukiwa Sagana, our support is there, but we also need to remember that we have to sit and agree. Lazima tujue Mount Kenya iko nafasi kubwa sana, tusikie joto ya serikali.
Mheshimiwa Kabogo alisema huyu Ruto tutampigia kura 2022, lakini lazima atafute kura hiyo. Kwani mnafikiri nitapigiwa kura nikienda kukaa nyumbani kwangu bila kutafuta? Sasa makosa gani Kabogo amesema? Amesema huyu mtu lazima atembee kila kona na atafute mpaka apate. So, na hiyo ni advice mzuri. Nianze kupanga watu nione hapa ni namna hii.
Honorable Kabogo.
Yes.
They linked you, they said that you had claimed that the deputy president was the reason for your downfall.
Well,
Post-handshake, has that changed? Was that a wrong narrative?
I'm saying life moves on. It's not important what has happened in the past. If we can make changes and correct how we do politics in Kenya, we should not be talking about elections today. We are talking about elections. We just had elections a couple of months ago. And that's why I say, and if you look at my Twitter, I have said before, anyone speaking 22 today should be charged with treason. Because
You'd
they are
have
not
to
talking
kill
about taking
80%
Kenya.
of politicians
Yes,
in this country.
Of course.
You'd have to charge them.
You know, after the handshake, that is quite popular now, most politicians have nothing to say. Because before, they would only say Raila. They would only say Uhuru. They would only say Raila. They would only say Uhuru. Today, the handshake has wiped guys who have nothing to do. You know, busybodies.
We saw your own handshake.
Yes.
With
yes.
Raila?
Yes,
with
because
Musalia.
I believe in it.
What did you discuss?
If you go into my Twitter account again,
Okay.
about, I think 3 months before the elections, I did say, President Kenyatta, Mr. Odinga, please sit and agree. Talk about how to have a free and fair election. Kenya is not about you two. Kenya is about 45 million people. It's not because he shook hands with Raila that I've been speaking about dialogue.
You had started even
And
before.
I was almost lynched by the Mount Kenya people because I said, let them talk. Jogwa Joroge was on air a whole morning bashing me because why do you say Raila should speak with Uhuru? So I said, when Raila spoke to Uhuru, did they call you to consult you that they were going to speak? And that is the mood in the country. Kenya has cooled down, business is thriving. We should be talking about, for example, it took me 2 hours to get here this morning.
You were stuck in traffic.
Yes. And in the car, I started Googling how many cars come into Nairobi every morning. I'm telling you, approximately 300,000 cars with an average population of 5 people in every vehicle, average. If you count the number of hours, my friend, it is 3 million man-hours.
Wasted.
In other words, 125,000 man-years wasted every morning.
You drive
Can we move Kenya forward by making sure that those guys get to work on time? We are now busy talking about bodyguards. We are busy talking about, you know, Ruto's candidature. You know, Proverbs 19, verse 21. Man has many plans, but the purpose of God takes the day. Who told you you will be there? Why don't we just discuss Kenya and moving it forward?
You've played quite a role, and I'm coming to you, Dr. Otuoma. What did you discuss when you met Raila, Mudavadi? It elicited a lot of questions.
Why is it my biggest question to them?
Okay.
Why didn't we do this before? Even the elections.
That's what you asked Raila.
That's
what
the
you
first
asked
question. Yes.
Musalia.
And he says, you know, Kabogo, this thing is complex. I said, but as complex as it is, now this is Raila to me. We need to move on, and that is the spirit. However good or bad the elections were, because can you say they were very good, 100%? Why did we have a repeat? Why did we have a repeat? And Kenya is not about what Kabogo, Raila, or Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta says. Kenya is about 45 million people. How do we improve the lives of these people?
Okay.
This is what we should be discussing now.
Okay.
What I do in 22 is none of your business.
I like
We'll
that
get
you
there.
put that. Dr. Otuoma, you also had quite a lot to say last year about the poll process. While he was talking about his party, you were talking about yours. Let's listen to what he spoke of. That should be late last year.
ati nilikuwa hapo nikaona Faruku wa Ruto ati akipea Babu na Otuoma pesa. Si mnasikianga hiyo vitu? Complete nonsense. Na hivi vitu yote somebody ule unaita baba is entertaining that kind of rubbish. Ati wewe umtafutie kura lakini yeye anakunyonga. What kind of relationship is that? And then wamekuja na vitu ya ujinga, vitu ya umaskini, very primitive politics. Ati ukisema kitu umenunuliwa, umepigwa mnada, ati mbeho, ati hiyo ni kuku utapatia mahindi tu kulu.
Hata mimi niliambiwa siku ile ati nikiwacha Raila Odinga nitapotea. Mimi nimepotea mkiona? Ndio mimi najua huyu ndiye anaambiwa. Ati unajua ukiwacha hii barabara wewe utazama saa ngapi? Kwani hakuna Mungu mbinguni? Mnaabudu binadamu dunia hii?
Political parties, democracy in this country, what do you have to say?
I think, Maura, it just goes back to what I said, that when we have got political parties, and as members of those political parties, you are not able to get or exercise your rights within that organization. Even some people have gone further and said political parties are like clubs. They have got their rules and that. But if you are a member of a club, then you are entitled to all that appertains to that membership. And if you belong to a political party, the best thing that can happen to you is to subject yourself to the electoral process or to the nomination process that party has provided. But when that fails and you have got no avenue, or it is deliberately planned to fail.
Which is what you say happened in your case.
Of course. It was obvious. In fact, you can put on those clips. You know exactly what happened. And people do that because they believe a certain percentage of population or voters are driven by the popular political parties in certain regions. So immediately you get that ticket, then it gives you certain advantages. And they'll use all corners to make sure that they get that nomination as a shortcut. And that's why when I was speaking there, I felt aggrieved. But as my colleague has said here, that is now water under the table. I've also accepted and moved on and said those who have been elected, let us support them.
Okay.
And the good thing also that has happened, even at the presidential level, now that even those who are competitors have accepted to move forward, you have been given mandate to lead, provide leadership. And what Kabogo is saying that maybe Kagame told him, this is what I was told very long time ago. What is real leadership? Once you have been given opportunity, it is you now to provide the leadership. You are no longer competitors. Even today.
Who are you speaking to? Honorable Uhuru, Honorable Raila?
Both of them. Uhuru has now the opportunity that he's the president of this republic. It is him to provide the leadership. When he says that, you know, as a country, I've identified the big four, this is what is going to uplift the life of Kenyans. Raila has said, Uhuru, you are the president. We may not have agreed on everything, but what puts us together is more important than what divides us. Like I've said a lot of times, for you to move together doesn't mean that you have to have unanimity on everything. Even today, the debate that is going on about the handshake, in my view, it is healthy. Because if the president has identified that the handshake, as my colleague has said, has brought political temperatures down, the businesses are improving, the economy is improving. If we have got those who feel they want referendums or they don't want referendums, that may just be one of the elements that you are not agreeing on. But that does not mean that now the handshake is useless or the handshake has fallen apart. Yeah, you know, you don't have unanimity on everything for you to say that, you know, this is what is important to take us forward.
Can the handshake be used to fight corruption in this country?
Very much so.
You see the headlines in the paper today.
Very much
probe
so.
after probe after probe.
Yes.
What recommendations, what thoughts would you give? And I can start with you, Honorable Kabogo.
My friend, probe after probe. Probes are part of the corruption.
In what
How
ways?
many times have we had probes? NYS is not a new matter. Maize scam is not a new matter. Why is it that these things are never stopped? We had a maize problem a couple of years ago. We had NYS last time. They keep reoccurring. Why? And this is sabotage. Those people who are doing these things are sabotaging the head of state. Because how do you tell Kenyans you are taking them to the next level and within your time, all these things are happening? Believe you me, people are running to elections. Some of them are just looters. They want to be elected to go and loot. Get quick, rich syndrome, you know. People just want to get rich. But a day will come. A day will come.
When things will change.
Things will change.
Dr.
If they did change in Tanzania,
Yes.
even here they will change. And I can tell you now, the president is serious about this thing. But my message to him, mwizi wa kuku akiiba kuku anafungwa haraka miaka miwili. Mwizi wa mabilioni anaanza kuulizwa maswali. Where did you get this? Ulipata wapi? You know, the money has trailed. You can't move 1.9 billion shillings of maize through Kyondos, as Mheshimiwa Ruto would say. It is through banks. Trace the money, hold the money first, and hold on to it, kabisa. Let them start explaining while you're holding on to the money. How long does it take to catch a thief if you have the accounts?
If you have the accounts.
If you have the accounts. Take Kabogo there, you'll see what will happen in 5 days. You know.
We make you the head of ESCC.
boss. Yes.
Things will change.
Oh, you know they will even stop before I get there. Because they know here, this is serious business.
Big Four.
Yeah.
Threatened by this corruption. In fact, this week we haven't talked about Big Four much.
In fact, I've been trying to see how I could reach the president.
Okay.
And
His people are watching this broadcast.
You know, the number I had nowadays, when I call it doesn't go through.
I'll help you reach him.
Is yours going through?
So if he's
Talk to
maybe
Kabogo.
he'll show me the other number. Because I wanted to tell the president, all these good intentions about the Big Four will not happen until we add another fifth one. And that is the war on corruption. Unless that is done, these other ones will not work. And that's why you have seen that even this problem in NYS, you could not sort it out now if you had not sorted out the first one. And it is so easy to see where the problem is. You have got an institution whose budget, by the time I left, you know, that docket used to be under my Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Sports, yes.
At that time, the budget was only 1.5 billion. Now you come
26 billion.
You come to
Then
26
now
billion,
26,
I don't know.
25 billion actually.
25 billion. Without any building up the institutional capacity to execute some of the programs that you want those resources to do. It's like putting the cart before the horse. And whatever you do, you will never get it right. That money will be eaten. Because the institution has got no capacity to spend that kind of money. And what do? Instead of building the institutional capacity, they come up by saying they have consultants. You know the government bureaucracy, how it works. What consultants? A consultant will never solve that problem. That is just a conduit. Either you run this thing as a program, one-off program, and you come up, it is designed as a program, given proper capacity to operate. But if you are saying this is the National Youth Service, as I understand it, and then you pump in that kind of money, it will not work. Look at the probes that have been done. The PAC report of 2016, when that problem was there. What has been implemented from that report? When you say that you are again investigating, it is the same thing. Somebody is here, the AI holder is somewhere in some remote place, whoever is doing the procurement is here in Nairobi, you are being told to pay for things you even don't know. How will it work? Two, if you look at what Kibaki did when NAC came into power, one of the biggest avenue for corruption is spending bills. Why should somebody who has supplied today be paid and somebody who supplied 3 years ago
Still be waiting for their
still be
payment.
waiting?
That's right.
And one of the things why you saw our economy improving, Kibaki came in, an audit was done of the pending bills. He said in his government, we are now running a program-based budget. Well, how did we change that? If you go to county governments, it's the same. People are committing suicides because they have taken loans. They are being auctioned. You can't run the state like that. So the president, first of all, out of those big four, he must add another fifth one.
Big five.
No, it should be big one.
Yeah.
He says it should be
Yeah,
number one.
that should be the first
corruption.
one. It should be actually the pillar, the anchor.
Yes.
I'm happy that he has tried within the justice system to say, okay, we have the DPP,
Okay.
we have the ESCC, all these. But my friend Maura, remember, these institutions have been there. And you must also go back to the constitutions. Why did Kenyans want these institutions? It's because we were grappling with these problems and we were not making any headway. But these institutions have also now been made to be as ineffective as we were before.
No,
Currently-
let me tell you, Let me tell you, simply, very simple. I hear you, and I feel you. Do you know, my friend, this looting is an organized group.
Do you know them?
How don't you know them? Who sits on the desk of
I don't know
Who
them.
sits on the desk of IFMIS? You know, government has a central system of controlling finances. You cannot pay anything unless it goes through IFMIS. So there's someone on the desk of IFMIS who sees everything happening.
And
that is the first person I should go to. That's the one I should get first. Did you see all these things happening? If NYS happened before, what have we done as a country to make sure it doesn't happen again?
The Financial Reporting Center.
Let me ask you,
It's just a different forest.
Yes.
The monkeys are the same.
Someone has a question here. They are saying these two gentlemen are speaking very differently from when they were with their parties. They are now advocating for development, etc. But previously they were speaking very different language. What has changed?
That is not true. I have spoken the way I speak now. I will continue speaking this
You
way,
remain consistent.
regardless of who I am addressing.
Same to you?
It's a conviction I have.
I don't know what he meant that we were speaking differently, because I don't think I'm speaking differently.
They're saying you're different now from when you were sitting either at the constituency level or at the county level. You're now advocating for development. They failed, but then you are not as vocal about these issues as you are now.
My friend, if you look back when I was governor, and I think you saw it in the papers 2-3 days ago, counties that achieved 30% development ratio to 70 recurrent, I had 29.6 the last 2 years. And my speech about these things has been the same, even when I was in parliament.
Sorry, I think...
So really, we need to tell those who are in office, fight corruption, fight it completely. What would I do if I was the president today? Believe you me, I would stop all cash withdrawals completely. And I would track. Look at my Twitter when I was in office. I kept saying, we must stop people from getting impressed. Remember, I was grilled by Senate almost 3 hours about pending interest, officers having interest and not accounting for it. If NYS has paid me 147 million for certain supplies, why would I go to my bank and withdraw cash in Gunias? Why don't I just send money through
transfers? Yes,
through RTGS?
Yes.
Where is this money in Gunias going? This is the money you see in the Harambes.
There are those who say, Dr. Otuoma, that the problems of Kenya are of the nature that a referendum might be the solution. That you reduce the clamor at the top for positions, and that will sort of bring about the change that we see. That we lose too much money before, during, and after an election, that we need to look at fixing that. Do you agree with those who feel that a referendum could bring some change?
My friend, to me, those are just ideas that are being put on the table. But you must also remember, we have come up with a constitution which is just like less than 10 years old. What we should be doing, and I remember before we left parliament, there was supposed to be some audit on the constitution. I don't know whether that report has already been produced to see that how are we moving on with the current constitution or the current systems of government as we have. Because every time we face challenges, and the solution is to change the law. And I told you earlier, so long as our morals continue to be very inefficient, the laws alone cannot fix that. Because what we have currently, and as I said, my colleague here has been saying, those who have been given mandate, are they utilizing what we already have? Yeah, like today, if we talk about corruption, why should corruption be a cancer that is overcoming this country? When we came up with the ESCC, we have DPP, an independent judiciary, DCI, independent police force, watchdog committees in parliament. I was a member of a watchdog committee, and I can tell you the failure is within ourselves. I even did a paper on one of the theses that the institutional capabilities of parliament, in terms of the resolutions that are passed, how are they implemented? We have got the implementation committee, which sometimes it's like it doesn't exist. You never hear of it. How does it interact with government? And how do we enforce what has already come out, where taxpayers' money has been used? A report has come out, it is just there. It will not work. If you look at PAC, you look at what is it called, DCI, DPP, the so-called Big Five, KRA, all these people are supposed to interact. But are they interacting? You remember the other time, Parliament produces a report, the DPP tells you he's not the investigating body. That means the DCI must investigate. Parliament does a report, you are told you as is oversight, you can now only pass it to DCI to investigate. If you go to countries like Zambia or Uganda here, it is not an issue that now Parliament is oversight, immediately the executive sends in an investigative officer in a committee, then you know that independence is not there. We should be talking of interdependency, not complete independency. Interdependency, whereby we are saying the institutions are working together because they are all drawing from public coffers. So when a watchdog committee is producing a report, why does the DCI want to behave like he has never heard about it? Yet in the laws, these are public hearings. They are not in camera. The public is allowed to attend. What is so difficult for the DCI to make a managerial decision that I'm going to send an officer there?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you remember the theatrics that we were taken through by one Kabura?
Those I don't think any Kenyan can forget them.
You know, there were
Yes.
it was a public hearing in before a committee of parliament when someone says, "Oh, I lent him 50 million." How did you get it? I gave it in cash. And you're living in Kenya today,
And you
know banks have. You know, I was reading today in the papers that some banks are being questioned, that they opened accounts and cash was transferred through those banks. You know how Charterhouse Bank became into to a closure today? I mean, 10 years ago, they talked about know your customer as you open your account. Yes. These banks, did they ask these people, where are you getting this money from? Did they raise the alarm that money, a new account has been opened and money in the tune of hundreds of millions is being transacted through these banks, and most of it in cashbacks?
Worrying corruption, not just in public sector, but private sector as well. I want to come back to my original question, which was the possibility of a referendum. And this has brought about a lot of issues amongst our leaders. Hang on one second. Let's play that clip. This actually came out yesterday at the Legislative Summit in Mombasa, and the Deputy President, and of course, Senator Orengo, going back and forth about a referendum and the issues bringing about in the nation. Let's listen in.
Lazy people who do not want to work hard, and incompetent people who cannot formulate any meaningful development program, and some people who lose elections. They use the Constitution as the bogeyman. They try and blame it on the Constitution. But I don't want us to have that discussion here today. We will have it another day.
Even this constitutional debate, let us look at the issues. Don't overrule before you hear the argument. Yeah, and I think this is what is going to make Kenya a better place.
You know, you can think, for hearing this, you can think that the mandate of changing the constitution lies within Orengo's mind or Mheshimiwa Ruto's mind. It is not a document of a person they are discussing. They are discussing Kenya. So who has the right to discuss the constitution? It's Kenyans.
The person watching this
program. You see what I'm saying? If you go back a little bit and ask the same two gentlemen you've just shown us, what was their position a couple of years ago? It was the other way around. So as it suits you, that's how you deal with it. Again, this is person. If you ask me about the constitution, yes, we have a good constitution. But the audit that Mheshimiwa has just talked about, how do you audit constitution is what works, what doesn't work. For example, is it necessary to have 400 MPs? Yeah. Is it really necessary, honestly?
He agrees with you.
If you ask me today, I will put a question to Kenyans. Do you agree we reduce the number of MPs to 47 legislators, one from every county, to go and make laws for us, Kenyans? Reduce the number of MCAs from 2,700 to the number of constituencies, I think 290. And there, you've cut the budget of the nation by 90%. You get what I'm saying? So it is not Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, it is not Mheshimiwa Ruto, it is not Mheshimiwa Orengo to tell us when to change the constitution.
It's you and
Put the question to Kenyans. Yes, it is a document. That is the relationship between Kenyans and the governors in terms of those who are governing the republic. The constitution is a relationship between the people and how they want to be governed. So if continuously we have done certain things and we feel they are not working, we need to change them.
Honorable Otuoma, come in.
Yes.
What do you?
I think to me, as I had told you earlier, there is an audit on the Constitution that has been done, and some of these issues should not be, you know, crowded or be confused with succession politics. And that is where I agree with him partly, that the Constitution is too important to be tied to either individuals who maybe have got certain interests about 2022. We should be talking of a document for posterity, that we passed our Constitution 7 or 8 years ago. How far are we? And instead of, you know, diluting it with the succession politics, we should be discussing the issues there. Like now, the issue of Kenyans being overrepresented. And this has been documented everywhere you go. They tell you America, there are 400 million people. They hardly have the number of representatives that we Kenyans have, with a big economy. Look at India, with almost over 1 billion people. They don't have the, in terms of ratios, they don't have the kind of representation that we have. But you must also realize, by the time we were making the Constitution, what were the issues? Look at even today, when we talk about certain areas where populations were exaggerated, you know, to meet certain demands. And yet it's on the basis of that that representation was formulated. So there was something that was driving us at that time. And if we go back to the audit report, I haven't read it myself fully, to say, are we overrepresented and is it helping? If today we were talking about devolution, why are we again layering the national level too much? I thought we should, I thought what we should be doing is enhancing down in the counties, instead of again being overrepresented at the national level. You remember we have the women rep, the senator, the number of MPs, yet at the same time we were supposed to be building capacities at the county level. So you see, it's a contradiction, because we are supposed to be shifting to the counties, but at the same time you are building too much at the national level, and you find people sometimes who are so idle, they don't know what to do, and that is where you end up with some of the suckers that you're already seeing. Because
as a matter of fact, if you go backwards a little bit, we talk about the new Constitution 2010. What happened so that we got ourselves a new Constitution? We were trying to fix many inequalities that were there in the old Constitution. So we have a new Constitution. We have things that continue to come every 5 years. We have electoral problems every 5 years. 92, 97, 2002, 2007, 2013, 2017. So are you telling me that because we have a certain order, we do not need to discuss how can we fix this problem? If you look at nations like Switzerland, Norway, they have a system of government. If you ask me my radical proposal on how we can get away from these election problems, I'll say let's have 7 presidents under the Council of Presidents with 1 chair every year.
That's an interesting...
Let me tell you what I'm saying.
Okay, briefly, please.
Because if you have 7 provinces bringing a president, a council member
to the presidency,
and they rotate every year, you will never plan corruption, because you're sitting 1 year. You will never have problems, because a Borana will become president.
A Teso
will become president. Sultan will become president. You know what I'm saying?
Is that who you're backing for 2022?
No. I'm saying who is Sultan.
Okay. I don't know. You mentioned a name.
Maybe,
I said Borana, I said
any Sultan.
You are asking me now about backing. You are also there, 22. Why don't we stop speaking about 22? God will give us a leader.
Okay.
Yes.
But so where are you right now? Are you still an independent? Are you with a party? Before we take a look at some tweets.
You know, right now, I am at home.
Where is home?
I'm enjoying home here in Kabogo and Nairobi. I'm not worried about politics at the moment, my politics. I'm worried about where Kenya is going. And I would like to assist the president and say, Bana Uhuru Kenyatta, please deal with corruption. People talk about corruption like it is an animal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying.
And I think you've come across clearly. I want to also give him a chance to respond to the same question.
Just one question. If you know forever, I have had a Nissan Sunny for a car. Then I quickly get a ministerial position and I have 4 Lexus. Surely, what do you want me to tell you who a thief is? You know.
It's a clear picture. So where are you now? Because we know you quit ODM.
Yes.
You told us you joined Jubilee. Are you still in Jubilee?
I think I supported Uhuru as far as joining the party. As it stands now, I'm still an independent.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of joining political parties. But you remember in the run of elections, I said that I'm going to support Uhuru.
And you campaigned for him as well.
I campaigned for him, and that's why I said that, this handshake thing, some of us did it, but maybe our hands were too small because we extended it and said...
So you did the first handshake before Raila
yeah,
did
but
his.
maybe Raila had a bigger hand. But as we say, that is now not that important. I think what is critical as Kenyans today, I'm also just a citizen.
Okay.
As it stands now. And what concerns every Kenyan is what also just concerns me. We need to see our people getting jobs. We need opportunities. You cannot do business properly in an environment whereby corruption is the occurrences of every day. So those are the kind of concerns that we are having. So I'm still a private citizen, just trying to get along with my life, and that's where I am. And I think the biggest contribution that we can make at this time is to ensure that the environment that has been created currently should not be overshadowed by the kind of talks that I'm seeing now in the media.
Okay.
I think the president should focus in trying to make sure that the country can be rallied and put its energy in something positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it is those big 4, if it is the debates that people are having, let us do that under an environment that is going to take this country much more forward. Instead of when you're in leadership and you are responding to somebody, instead of offering that leadership, you are responding to people like they are your competitors or they are your opponents. At this time, I don't think somebody in leadership should be looking at those who are speaking or having different views as competitors.
Fair enough. I have some tweets. I have some tweets.
I have one very quick one, very small one.
Okay.
Last year, we saw the president having a conference inside State House on an issue, corruption. And you remember passionately
the famous statement he made.
What haven't I done? I think we need.
Do you agree with him on that statement?
Yes, I do.
That he has done everything.
He has done almost everything.
But you've also told us
let
that
me say, my message to Kenyans. If Mheshimiwa X is corrupt and you know he is corrupt, he's not corrupt alone. Money comes from somewhere. There are people in Barclays Bank, there are people in Equity Bank who are conduits of this money.
You're using those banks as examples.
I'm not saying that that's what happens.
Okay.
I'm saying there are banks. There are people who work in banks. They see this money moving. They don't have a penny benefit of this money. Please, Citizen TV, open a box where messages will be sent. So-and-so has drawn so much money. So-and-so has done this.
And then we hand over to the EACC
no, to Kenyans. I am saying
so
let us try them in public now.
Okay.
Yes, let us shout hardest.
Fair enough.
When you see someone opening a car boot and you find there are millions of shillings in the car,
both of you would have had such money on the campaign.
No,
never.
Never.
No. We know the handouts. Let's look at the tweets. This is what Kenyans have to think after seeing these leaders for the first time in a long time in this platform. Honorable Kabogo, I don't know whether you are vying in 2022, but someone says they'll vote for you as the next president. They feel you are the right person for us after this. This is Atron Kip 10. Okay. Did you know Honorable Kabogo had placed the best healthcare system, which is now failed? Kiambu people now know choices have consequences. Okay, that's from Micheka Kevin. You seem to have a lot of feedback from your situation. What had Honorable Kabogo achieved as a governor? The same to Otuoma as an MP. That's from Diffred. Remember that. I'll give you a chance to respond. People calling for constitutional changes are not sincere and aligned to Kenyans. That documentation is still young, but the people lack good morals. And Honorable Otuoma is talking about that's from Taito Amako. 1 minute each. They're saying, what did you do to address the issues that you are
one of the
speaking?
guys there said on my behalf that I did a beautiful health care system. We digitized revenue collection in Kiambu. When I came in 2012-2013, the revenues were 800 million from the former local authorities. In 2015-2016, 2.7 billion.
Fair
From
enough.
800.
From 800. And for you?
I think for me as a member of parliament for Funyula, one of the things that I did was to anchor Funyula on the right path of education. Because I'm somebody who believed that the biggest resource that this country has is its people. And its people, the more you give them capacity, the better. So I put up secondary schools. I found around 7. I've just left when they were around 20. I built primary schools. We didn't have any mud schools in our places. We tried to make sure that those schools have got water. We improved security during my tenure. There was nobody who was ever, you know, shot or killed because of thuggery. Very few incidences. Well, when I came in, because we are on the border, that used to be the order of the day. And sometimes as we speak ourselves, we used to say nobody can come from nowhere and commit a crime unless there are some accessories around there, just the way we are talking about corruption. And when we worked closely between the security agents and the people, we created a conducive environment for business. The era when, you know, when you just sold something and in the evening somebody is knocking on your door to say, bring what you sold yesterday, we cleared out that. And if you look at it, a lot of people opened businesses, hardware, people built good homes because the environment was there. We made sure our roads are passable. We connected electricity everywhere. In fact, by the time the government was talking about, you know, making sure that all primary schools have got electricity, we already had that program, markets, secondary schools, health centers, and all that. And in that small tenure and with the little CDF money that we had, that is what we were able to achieve.
Okay.
But there is still a lot that need to be done, and I believe that's how the county government came in, with more resources, more local decision making, backup from the national government to make sure that the devolution is working. So we hope that they are going to expand on that, and especially the functions that they were given, as he's talking health, you know, or those devolved functions, to make sure that we have got the right human resource capacity. If you look at it, maybe Mwaura, just to go further.
Briefly, please.
If you take the big 4 about health, housing, you know, manufacturing, all this kind of thing, you still find that the core thing is about developing the human resource capacity of this country so that we can be productive.
Fair enough. Honorable Kabogo, let me take this as a last question to you. Your political detractors in the run-up, and I know you say that the election period is over, but there was a conception around you and statements you made about women. It's in one of the tweets. I want to give you a chance now to clarify, because I think at that campaign time, such information was not...
propaganda.
So you did not say any of the statements?
Propaganda. You see them now falling everywhere. Why don't they talk about it today? Why don't they talk about drugs today? You know, politics in Kenya is about propaganda. It's not about what you have done.
So the drug story, the allegations of women,
absolute nonsense.
Okay.
You know, and it has no room in Kenya of today. People associate politics with personalities. So let's attack his person. There's nothing else we can do about this man. He has worked, yes, lakini alitukana ba mama.
And for those who had questions about your source of wealth, we saw you as a flashy individual for many years.
There you are, for many years.
Without
so do you
knowing
say I'm
where
corrupt?
You got your money
from. Do you
from?
say I'm corrupt?
No, the same
if
question.
If you have seen me dancing in money for many years, you said it yourself. I'm a hard-working Kenyan.
We do not know the source.
The source is hard work. I'm telling you.
Is it a business?
A year like 2000.
Yes.
There was no one single Kenyan who would import as many cars as I did. A vessel full of vehicles from Japan coming to this young man at the age of 38 then.
You were very fortunate.
Not fortunate. I worked hard. And good luck. God was with me. He's still with me. That is why I'm still sour.
Okay.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I see what you're trying to say. And
but that should not overshadow the issues that we have in this country.
Okay. Fair.
There is something that is called wealth declaration. Are we together?
And you have done that?
I have done that all the years.
How much are you worth?
Can we open people's wealth declaration forms of 2002, 2013.
Even Honorable Otuoma here.
2013. Are we together? 2017. Can people account for what they own today? Ask me, can I account for where I live?
In all those years?
I think I can account mine.
You can account for yours?
Yes.
When was the last time you spoke to Honorable Raila?
Who, me?
No, I meet him once in a while in the gym. We go to the same gym. But
he gyms,
yeah, he gyms. You know, he gyms quite a lot. So once in a while, very often, we meet
Okay.
in the gym and we say hi and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's no hard feelings. It's
Handshake.
It's just, as we said, politics is behind us. What happened are bygones, and now we are moving forward, and that's what is critical. So for him, we meet, but as I told you, I decided to keep a bit quiet.
Lilo.
Yeah, in terms of politics, so that we can do other things. So I have not been engaging politically too much, but definitely I meet quite often.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of places maybe I go to, he also goes there. So
Okay, so you want to leave it at that. Gentlemen, I really wish I had more time. I feel like I could have done an hour with each of you, just sort of getting to find out where you've been up, what you've been up to, and where you've been. But thank you for honoring this invitation, Honorable Kabogo, former Governor Kiambu County, for bringing your thoughts. And you're telling Kenyans, follow you on Twitter. You can, what's your Twitter handle?
At Honorable Kabogo.
Someone has said that you sometimes preach on
I
Twitter.
do,
We've had
I
you dropping
do,
scripture
I do.
here as well.
Don't you want to go to heaven?
No, I want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
I thought
So-
of Proverbs.
Yes, I do.
And for you, Honorable Otuoma, where can we get, you're online, or can we get information about you?
yeah,
there?
you can.
At-
Dr. Paul Otuoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Twitter, Facebook, and we
You,
can
you
get
know, again, Twitter for politicians, you will find a certain politician's Twitter account has 1 million followings.
Yes.
But it is only 200 people active. This Twitter handle has been marketed even in Latin America.
Which one, yours?
I'm
Oh,
saying
that
this
one in
one,
particular,
yes. So that you can look busy and you have numbers.
Corruption.
You see what I'm saying?
Online corruption.
Also online corruption. You want to give people a picture that you are not.
Let's
You see
take
what
a
I'm
break.
saying?
You're watching Citizen Extra. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana.